Nobody warned me about this. And if you are thinking about making a move in White Plains, whether you're selling, starting all over, or trying to figure out if you can even afford to stay, this video is going to save you from some very expensive surprises. Because the cost of living conversation in White Plains in 2026 is not what most people think it is. There are numbers behind these numbers. And if you don't know what they are before you make a decision, you are going to feel it in your wallet tremendously. I'm talking about the real cost, not the Zillow estimate, not the open house brochure, the actual day-to-day, what does it cost to live here, truth that most agents won't say and sit down and walk you through. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you're going to have a clear, honest picture of what life in White Plains actually costs in 2026. And more importantly, what that means for whatever move you are going to make. Before we get into it, if you are navigating a major life change right now, whether that's separation, a divorce, downsizing, or just figuring out your next chapter, I want you to know that's exactly who I work with. My name is Mike Marcus Jr. I'm a residential real estate agent in White Plains. And I specialize in helping people move through transition with clarity and confidence. You can reach me directly. The number's in the description. No pressure, no pitch, just a real conversation about what your situation looks like and what your options are. Isn't that what matters? Now, let's get into it. Here's why this matters so much right now. White Plains sits in Westchester County, which consistently ranks as one of the most expensive counties to live in. And 2026 is not getting cheaper. Home values have climbed, property taxes remain amongst the highest in the nation, and the cost of carrying a home, not just buying it, but owning it month to month, has shifted significantly in the last 2 years. If you bought here 5 years ago, the equity pictures look great, but the carrying cost picture, that's a different conversation. And for anyone in the middle of their life transition, a divorce, a separation, a major household change, understanding the real cost of staying versus the real cost of moving is not optional. It's the decision. Most people anchor on the sales price or the list price and stop there. That's the mistake. The number that actually matters is what it costs you every single month to own and live in that home. Let me walk you through what that actually looks like in White Plains in 2026. Let's start with housing costs because that's the foundation. The median home value in White Plains right now is sitting in the $700,000 range, and the market is competitive. Homes are going pending fast, some selling above listing price. That sounds great if you're selling, and it is. But here's what the number means if you are staying or buying. On $700,000 home with 20% down, you are looking at a mortgage in a range of $3,800 to $4,200 a month, depending on your rate. That's before taxes. And of White Plains, taxes are not a footnote. They are a headline. Property taxes in White Plains run approximately 1.57% of assessed value. On a home value of $700,000, that's roughly $11,000 a year or close to $900 a month added to your carrying costs. So your all-in monthly housing number in median White Plains home is easily pushing $5,000 or more before you have touched a utility bill. That is the real number, and it's the number that changes everything about the conversation, especially if you're going from a 2-income household and 1-income household, which is exactly where a lot of people going through separation or divorce find themselves. Now, let's talk about what it actually costs to live day to day in White Plains before the mortgage. And I want to be honest with you here. Because the city punches above its weight in a lot of ways, and that comes at a price. Groceries, dining services, White Plains run roughly 15 to 20% above the national average on the everyday expenses. A full grocery run for a family here isn't a $150 trip. It's closer to $200 to $250. Depending on your household, gas prices in Westchester consistently run above the New York State average. And if you have kids and activities, clubs, private schools, and a lot of White Plains families do, you're stacking costs that can add another $1,500 to $3,000 a month, depending on your situation. This isn't to scare you. White Plains delivers real value. The Metro North line gets you into the Grand Central under 40 minutes. The downtown restaurants, scene is legitimately good, and the school district is solid. But you need to know what you are paying for. Here's where it gets really important for anybody going through a life transition. When a household splits, the financial math changes completely. A home that was manageable on 2 incomes can become genuinely unaffordable on 1. I see it play out all the time. One spouse wants to keep the house for stability, understandable. Completely human, but the numbers don't support it. And nobody walked them through the real monthly cost before they made that call. So now, they are house rich and cash poor, stressed every month, and the home that was supposed to be the stability is actually the source of the pressure. On the flip side, I also see people panic, selling without understanding how much equity they have built. White Plains home values have appreciated meaningfully over the last several years. If you bought in the early 2020s, you may be sitting on $150,000 to about $250,000 in equity or more. That equity is a resource. It can fund your next chapter, a smaller home, a fresh start, a move that actually fits your new life. But you have to know what you have before you can make a good decision about what to do with it. There's also the tax conversation that almost nobody brings up until it's too late. When you sell a marital home as part of the divorce in New York, a married couple can exclude up to $500,000 in capital gains from the sale. Once you are divorced, that exclusion drops to $250,000 per person. The timing of when you sell relative to when your divorce is finalized can have a real impact on your tax exposure. I'm not a tax attorney, and I always recommend working with one, but this is the kind of thing a good divorce real estate specialist will flag early, so you are not caught off guard. Let me address the concern I hear most often. People say, Mike, the market feels uncertain. Interest rates are still elevated. Should I wait? And here's my answer, my honest answer. Waiting has a cost too. Every month you carry a home you can't afford or stay in a living situation that doesn't fit your life anymore is a month of financial and emotional drainage. This market isn't going to hand you a perfect moment. What matters is making the right move for a specific situation, your equity, your income, your timeline, and your goals. That's a personal calculation, not a market calculation. And that's exactly the kind of conversation I have with my clients. Before we ever look at any single listing, if you are someone who is going through a separation or divorce, thinking about downsizing, dealing with major household change, or just trying to figure out whether staying in White Plains still makes financial sense for you, this is exactly the conversation I'm here to have. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just need honest information and someone in your corner who knows this market and understands what you are going through. That's what I do. Reach out directly. The contact info is in the description. I work with buyers, sellers, and people in transition all over White Plains. Drop your questions in the comments below. I read every single one, and if this video gave you something real, subscribe, because I put out honest local market content every week designed specifically for people making real decisions about their real lives here in White Plains.